What's up? It's Monday, June 6, 2016. My name is Arthur Palac, and today I want to talk about why I went from an American style of boxing to a European style of boxing. As a child, I was taught by my dad to always keep my hands up, parallel to each other, in line with my eyes, and always protecting my head and my body as much as I can. Typical American style, where your hands are kept up, by your eyes, in tight, so nothing can hit you. And as I got older, and as I became exposed to more boxers, more fighters, and my experience grew, my style started to evolve. Where I kept my hands started to evolve. Most people would say that I have a typical European style. And the reason they say that is because when I get into my stance now, my right hand is always out front. It's always out front. And from a side perspective, when you look at it, big difference between my hands being here and my hands being here now. Sometimes my hand is out a little bit further, sometimes it's in a little bit closer, but my right hand is always out front. And the reason that I changed from keeping my hands up to keeping my hand extended is because it was very advantageous to me at the time that I started to do it. There was a lot of things that were occurring for me as a young kid. I wasn't really strong, I was tall and skinny. And I had to use my length of my arms and my hands and my body to my benefit. And if I kept my hands in here all the time, I wasn't doing justice with what I had. So what I started doing is my arm eventually started moving out forward and forward and forward, and it was a benefit to me, a really big benefit to my boxing style and the way that I progressed as a boxer, and it had a lot to do with my success. There's a couple advantages with keeping your hand out. First of all, your arm is out like this, and you have a less distance for your jab to go forward. If you're coming back from here, it's a longer distance for your arm to go forward. If it's right here, you can throw your jab. It's not going to be a really hard jab, but your arm doesn't have to travel as far as if it's coming from your head. The advantage of also keeping your hands out, keeping your right hand out, typical European style, is you can guide your opponent's punches. You can block them a lot easier. If my hands are here, I'm very well protected. However, I can only block the shots once they're within hitting my head. However, if my arms are out here, I can knock down a jab. I can knock down the right hand. I can block a hook. I can do a lot more with my arm out here than I can in here. The other thing that it will allow me to do is when my arm is out fully, I can stop my opponent. I don't have to hit him, I can just stop him. My arm doesn't have to go out that far, I can just stop him and set him up with the left hand. Or I can pivot off with a hook. When my arm's out here, bam, I could pivot off with a hook. If my arm is here, it's not going to be that easy for me to pivot out with a hook because it has to come from here and I have to extend my arm completely. One of the key successes for me was this one move with keeping my arm out. Opponent would come in, bam, sidestep him, left hand. Worked like a charm every time. Now let's talk about some of the downsides of keeping your right arm out or your lead hand extended. One of the things that you're going to notice from a side perspective, your whole head is open. If you're not quick enough to block a left hook, you're going to get cracked. So you have to be on top of your toes at all times, because when your arm's out here, you can block a lot easier, and you have to be on your toes to know where your opponent's punches are going to go, and you don't have the liberty of keeping your hands here where you can just block anything to the body or anything that's coming to your head. So that's one disadvantage of keeping your arm out here, is that you're open here and you're somewhat open to your body. Another disadvantage of keeping your arm out is that when it's out here, you have partial extension and you're constantly moving your arm, slightly moving it, and your arm's going to tire a lot quicker than if it's in here in a relaxed state. That's another drawback. The other drawback is that when your arm is out like this, you don't get a full extension behind your shot. And what I'm saying is, since your arm is partially already extended, you don't get full transfer of energy through your jab. Little disadvantage, but it can be compensated with by just stepping forward a lot easier. So stepping forward with the jab. So you can come over that disadvantage by stepping forward with the jab a lot easier when your arm's extended. The reason that keeping my arm out works so well for me is because I'm very tall. I'm 6'5". My wingspan is that of a person that's 6'7". So keeping my lead hand, in this case my right hand, out was very advantageous to me. I could direct my opponent with my jab, up, down, to the side, any way. I could just keep them at bay with my jab because they didn't know if I was going to hit a strong jab or follow through with the left hand. The other thing that I really liked about it is if my opponent's coming at me with the left hand, I can easily knock them off balance. I can easily guide where their punch is going to go and slightly knock them off balance because my arm is already out here. The other thing that I love the most about this style, mind the police sirens that are going on outside, is the simple fact that I gained a huge advantage by being able to pivot out. My opponent went this way, I'd follow through with the left hand. So the ability to pivot with a hook, and it's not going to be a really strong hook, it's just something to use your opponent's momentum as he's coming into you. Bam. And that's it. It's not a really pretty shot, it's not a really clean shot, it's just something that you use to move out the way, follow through with a really strong left hand. Because you pivot out the way, your opponent and his momentum are moving this way, and you're this, bam, you catch him with the left hand. So for me, those are the reasons I really love the European style. I really love the fact that I can guide my opponent wherever I wanted to with my arms out here. And there are some drawbacks. It's not a style for everyone, but it works for those people that are very tall, very lengthy, because they can keep their shorter opponents at bay. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. And don't forget to share or like this video.